Alright, so since our new stock here has the fog light switch and our old one here does not, we will have to be replacing this. And to get this out, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver here, as well as a 10mm socket with some sort of extension. And what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, there's a screw there, there's one on the other side over here as well, and there's also a screw down there. That should get this off, and then you also need to get back here because the wiring for the fog lights is hidden down here. Alright, so pretty much the trim panel here has just 4 screws, one here, one here, one here, and one kind of in the back over here. This plug back here is pretty hard to get to unplug it, and I'm at the moment I'm assuming that this is part of it, but now I don't think it is. I think this is probably for the e-locker that I don't have. But over here, I unplugged the stock turn signal. As you can see, it doesn't work, and I plugged in the new one, and it works. So I'm hoping that all of it is just run through, and that there's just not the connector for it in here. But I'm hoping that this is just all the wiring that I'll have to do. But otherwise, everything else just kind of comes apart pretty easily. You have your steering column plastic that just kind of pops right off once you get all the screws out and get all this out. All of that will just come right out, and then you're pretty much just unplugging and plugging stuff back in. Okay, so the fog lights work perfectly fine. So they only work when the headlights are on, not when the parking lights are on. You have to have the headlights on with them. But yeah, the fog lights work. It's just how I showed you before. It's just this one plug wire. I didn't have to fiddle with that little black one back there, so I have a feeling that, where is it? Yeah, that one right there. I have a feeling that that's probably just for the rear locker, which I don't have, as you can see by the blank switch. So here, as you can see, the new one has the fog light switch as well as your regular headlights, where the old one just had your headlights. It didn't have the second switch on it. And so as you can see up here, when you turn the lights on, and if you have it off or on, and you have it on, you can see that you also have fog lights. Another problem is that when you put your high beams on, the fog lights turn off, but I think there's a way to get around that by running some wires around a fuse or something like that. Okay, so if you're doing this yourself, when you go to install this, don't do what I did originally and try and put the bottom on first and then the top. Start with the top and then put the bottom on, because there's some little plastic teeth in here that have to line up, and it's just a nightmare. I've spent like 20 minutes wasting time with doing the bottom, and finally I just decided to do the top, and the whole thing went together in like 10 seconds. So just do the top first, put the top down first, line it all up, and then the bottom will go right back onto it. Alright, so when you're going to take the bumper off, it's easiest to just remove the brackets that hang on to here and here, because just to unscrew them from the two nubs that plug into the bolts onto the bumper itself, that's kind of useless and it's a waste of time. And I actually gashed up my thumb because I did that on that side, and over here I just unbolted these, and it was kind of crooked, and it just, I don't know, it hurt. Anyways, over here you have to take this bolt out. This was already off because of the accident and like pushed itself out, but when I go to put it back on, I'm gonna have to take this bolt off, and then it kind of slides up into there. And then you also have to unbolt over here. Back here there's like a nut that goes in there, and this whole piece just kind of comes off, and it's gonna be curious to see how that goes back on later. But yeah, other than that, this is the reason why you have the fat lip in the first place. If you have a 4runner like mine, they just took the frame and extended it out like 8 more inches or so, and you can see here mine kind of got bent up in the accident over there. So yeah.